In this video, we will cover the second part of chapter 8 that I have already talked about. In this video, we will talk about power, authority, domination, allied concepts, and we will see sociologists like Delbert Miller, Robert Dahl, Marx, Luke, Giddens, and Foucault. I have analyzed 2012 to 2020 papers and have came across following questions. I have already discussed these questions with you. Let's have a glance at it. We will discuss power in relation with authority and domination. We will see define and discuss concept of elite with reference to Pareto. We will see compare and contrast Delbert Miller and Robert Dahl's on power in local community. We will also see question of elaborate major tenets of Marxian and Weberian notion of power in comparative framework. Let's begin. Power is ability of a person to influence the behavior of another person or a group of person in accordance to with his or her own wish. Power means coercion. Source of power in society lies in economic infrastructure and those who owns the mode of production. Institutions like family, education, state, mass media justify the stereotypical image of superiority and inferiority. Now we will see Karl Marx. For him, source of power in society lies in economic infrastructure. Marx identifies two classes, that is capitalist and socialist. Capitalist is the ruling class or also known as bourgeois according to Karl Marx. These are the class which have everything. Socialists are the proletaires or the working class. These are the class that did not have everything. These are the labor class and the capitalists are the ruling class. These different groups are classes rise class conflict. Due to the different type of classes, class conflict rise in the society. Proletarization. More and more member will eventually become proletariat, means industrialist reserve army. Proletariat are the workers. Proletariat increase capital for ruling classes. Wages are just enough for their subsistence. They are not enough wages so that they can also invest or save for their future. The struggle over wage and condition of work is always with the proletariat workers. Marx opined that someday the proletariat will overthrow the bourgeois and get liberation from long-standing domination and exploitation. Modern industry and factory system of production usher an era of political organization of class struggle. To return power to people, there should be communal ownership of forces of production. Class consciousness emerged when exploited class recognized the subjective view to objective reality. It unlocked revolution, overthrown existing power and replaces it to new economics. Now we will see Stephen Luke. Power and human agency. Theory, three facts of power, presented in book Power, a Radical View. According to him, power is exercised in three ways, or the three phases of power are as follows. First is decision-making power. It focuses on policy preferences. Second is non-decision-making power. It sets the agenda in debates and makes a certain issue. Third is ideological power. It allows one to influence people's wish and thoughts. Luke affirms that all power is attributed to individual or collective human agents. Human agents have several options or alternatives before them from which they choose their course of action. Human agents are the one who exercise the power and on whom the power is exercised. Of course, the ruling class and the worker class both are humans only. Actor operates within structurally determined limits. Social life may be properly understood as a dialectic of power and structure, a web of possibilities for agents to make choices and pursue strategies within given limits. Now another sociologist that the question have asked is Anthony Giddens. He had talked about power as dependency and domination. In narrow sense, according to Anthony Giddens, power is a rational. Power is the capability to effect result when these outcomes depends upon agency of other. Use of power depends on capability to effect outcome in situation when they depends upon other. In the broad sense, it is transformative. Power has the capacity of the individual to bring about change through intervention. Power use depends on capability of an individual to affect outcome directly. According to Giddens, power in context of interaction is rooted in terms of domination. Giddens bases conception of power is acquisition and use of resources or capabilities expressed in struggles and subordination. Giddens later suggests that reproduction of structures of domination leads to generation of power. So this is how Giddens have talked about that how the power is generated among humans. Power depends on resources, distribution and capability of individual to effectively use them. We can clearly see that power defined by Weber, Giddens, Foucault or any of the sociologists is simply the division of resources that defines the power in class or in any society. Now we'll see Michael Foucault. He have talked about power and as domination. According to him, power is what makes us and what we are. His ideas is different from other sociologists. Power is not diffused. He had talked that power is diffuse and not concentrated. Earlier, the sociologists have said that power is concentrated in one type of class and the other type of the class, such as the polarites, don't have any kind of power. But he has challenged the idea of power depends upon sovereign act, supreme act, but he says that power is pervasive and it is everywhere. He had defined also the society in two types only, that is polarite and bourgeois, but these terms are basically of the Marx, so we will use these two terms only for Marx and we will use terms such as ruling class and working class for other sociologists. He identifies power with domination in conceptual, methodological and political terms. Now let's see. First is disciplinary power. Modern form of domination. Power is constant and completely pervasive. Domination makes the required action happen through political rationalities and technologies of power that seems to be inescapable, based on contrasting constitution of actors. Sovereign power is the second type of power. It is a pre-modern domination. It is periodic, means it is not constant. Low social penetration, it is not pervasive like the disciplinary power was. Domination is expressed through prohibition, and if that fails, punishment for the action which should not have been performed is given. It is based on givenness of the actor involved. Now we will see power and domination. Power exists and expresses itself in intergroup relation. Power is associated with states that people occupy in formal organization. Dominance is associated with one personality and may be treated as psychological concept. Power and domination, we have already discussed about Weber, Giddens and Foucault. You can mention all these three sociologists while defining power and domination. For the problem of order in power and domination, Weber have gave two solutions, that is warfare and conflict. It is not for the long-term source of order, and the second is legitimate domination. It involves voluntary complaint. Now you can write down what I am telling you. It is a brief discrimination between power and domination. Now, in the concept of essence, power is a sociological concept, whereas domination is a psychological concept. And in terms of location, power is located in groups, whereas domination is located in individuals. In terms of expression, power is intergroup relation, whereas dominance is interpersonal relation. In terms of people occupying, power is a formal organization, whereas dominance is a informal organization. So we can conclude that power is a function of organization, of association, of the arrangement and just a position of groups and of a structure of society itself. Domination is a function of personality or temperament. It is a personal trait. So you can write the difference between power and domination easily. Nowadays we see collective domination and power in relation to interpersonal level too. So now moving on, next topic, that is power and authority, as the question was asked. In brief, we can say that authority is a institutionalized power, whereas power is a latent force, a force that is manifest power. When power acquires legitimacy on justification, it is understood as authority. And authority involves voluntary obedience. It exercises command or control over other person. Power is executed in formal organization as institutionalized authority. Power is executed in informal organization as institutionalized power. So here you can see that how power and authority is differentiated. Max Weber. Power refer to capacity of actor to carry out his will in spite of resistance, as we have already talked about him. Max Weber also said that legitimate power is called authority. Power is a potential, so when it is used, it becomes either force or authority. For example, minority to withdraw from any association is power, but when he does it, it is force. Now we will see concept of elite, and before that I will like to tell you a brief difference between Marx and Weber in terms of power. Please note down the important points if you want, or just understand what is the difference between Marx and Weber in terms of power. Power for Marx is a concentrated in ruling class, that is bourgeois, who uses their power to exploit polar rights. And for Marx, exaggerated importance of economic power is given, but he fails to consider other possible sources of power such as political power. Polarites must have something to sell, that is labor power for polarites. Third is power emerge from economic sources, that is means of production. And the fourth point for Marx is, in terms of power, what Marx has said is capitalist approach is mainly seen. Now we will see Weber in terms of power. Here the will is probability. Social group and classes are in a sphere of power and are connected to distribution of power. He emphasizes the role of political power, where in the Marx case we have seen that he has emphasis on economic power more than the political power. Weber have generalized it to the economic power. We can see that Weber have also used economic power, but he has generalized the concept. Now the third point is power emerge from class, status or party, or from own. We will discuss the concept of class, status and party in brief in the following chapters that we will discuss. For Weber, party refers to voluntary association aimed at securing directive control of organization to implement policies. Parties are organizations striving for goal in planned manner. Parties are in a sphere of power at macro level. And in brief, I can tell you that class are the economic order and status group in social order. Class or status are communities or group. These are well organized status group or classes that can form parties. For example, trade union or religious institution. We will discuss the concept of class, status and party in brief. Now the fourth point is bureaucracy. Weber had used legal rational approach, as we have already seen, whereas in Marx capitalist approach is mainly seen. So these were the differences. We can also come across some similarities between Marx and Weber that are as follows. They both have classified class on ownership and non-ownership of property. Weber identified middle classes also. For Marx, there was bourgeois and polarites. For Weber, the two classes were property owners and commercial class, but he have also given a middle class. They both have constant some concept of power, that is gain for one and loss for another. Weber also take economic source of power but also see other factors, whereas Marx have only gave emphasis on economic power. So in briefly we can say that Weber and Marx both have used economic as one of the main term in their classification. Now we will see concept of elite. Elite was to employed to refer to commodities of particular excellence. Elite hold power due to religious values. The concept of elite was developed by Italian sociologists like Vilfredo Pareto and Genito Mosca. Only minority has talent, intelligence, ability, leadership to occupy position of power. Minority influence government decisions and gain dominant position beyond general elections. That is, democracy is utopia. Pareto in 1935 gave the concept of power elite, or it is also can be asked in the question like circulation of elites between two channel. Elite are the strongest, most energetic, most capable of goodwill and good and evil, occupy higher stratum. In terms of economy, they are the most wealthiest person. In terms of politics, they are the rulers. In terms of religions, they are the most holy person. In terms of art, they are the most artistic. And in terms of ethics, they are the most virtuous people. Whatever the concept or criteria may be, they are the superior people. Now we can see higher stratum comprises of two bodies. First is governing and second is non-governing. Governing body includes ministers, secretaries and many other people that govern. Now let's see circulation of elites. The circulation of elite between non-elite and elite people. Elite can be further divided into non-governing or governing body, whereas the non-elite body may or may not have role in the government. Psychologically, human action consists of residue or derivatives. Residues are the major motivations. There were 6 major motivations given by the sociologist, and derivative was collaboration of human action. Elites are divided into two, that is taken from Machiavelli's antithesis. Before that we should see that the following points. Society degenerates when elite merits go down and elite occupy status due to ascription. State is a tool in hands of ruling elite. Now we will see the two classification of elites. One is foxes and the other is lions. Now lions are the conservative elites. For example, kings or military. They have residue of persistence. They have faith in ideology. Their group is based on loyalty. They have power because they take direct and decisive action. Rule is by force. For example, king, military or dictatorship. Now foxes, they have vitality and imagination, materialistic goals, strategy of emotional appeal to fraud. They replace lions that lack manipulative skills. For example, democracy. Foxes rule by cunning and guile, by diplomatic manipulation and wheel dealing. There was some criticism to the classification of foxes and lions. Elite theory. There was no method of measuring qualities. Of course, we cannot measure the qualities of any person. There is no measure. And Talcott Parson gave two criticisms, that were residue changes with changes in society. And the second criticism given by Talcott Parson was difference between foxes and lions is nothing but a style of rule, because one is democratic and second is dictatorship. So he have classified it on the basis of style of rule. Another criticism is that there were 6 residue told by the sociologist, but only used 2 major motivation, that was foxes and lions. Before talking about power in local communities by Delpit Mirror and Robert Dahl, as I have told you that the concept of elite was developed by Italian sociologist Vilfredo Pareto and Gaetano Mosca. We have discussed about Pareto, and now we will see how the concept of Gaetano Mosca was given for the power of elite. He have written a book called as Ruling Class. He have emphasized sociological and personal characteristic of elite. Elite rule is universal necessity and inevitable. Society divided in two groups. According to him, there were the two groups that is known as ruling and ruled. The ruling was divided into two subgroups, that is elite and sub-elite. Elite were the political power, whereas sub-elite were the technocrats or civil servants. Dominant interests reflected in ruling class and they dominate structures and values. He differs from Pareto because elites are restrained by various social factors and were ruled are not powerless in democracy. So for him, ruled were the not powerless in democracy, but for Pareto, the ruled were the powerless in democracy. Now let's discuss the concept of power in local community by Delbert Miller and Robert Dahl. Miller and Dahl initiated a debate based on their own studies and research. Basic issue was power in local community. So we will first discuss sociologist Delbert Miller. He asserts that business elite make decision in local communities. He choose knowledgeable informant from community. He have asked them to select out important powerful people. Miller interviewed those selected important powerful people and asked them about the reputational technique that whom they will seek for help if they want get something to get done. Miller thus concluded that businessmen were the ones who could get things done. They influenced policy making. In Pacific country or in Pacific city, local government are not strong and elected officials are businessmen, lawyer or politician. In English city, labor is significant as leaders, and thus Miller finally concluded that power is not essentially identical in all American countries or communities. Whereas sociologist Robert Dahl argues that rather than being monolithic, power structure is pluralistic. He studied New Haven. He found out that a specific decision on a specific issue. He followed event analysis. He explained that despite businessmen have the resource, he also have liabilities. Thus, he can contribute in decision making. He said there is no center of power, but loci of power exist. So we can say that Miller and Dahl both have given the power in local community, how these were distributed and how businessman or labor had the power. We can now say that Miller power is monolithic, whereas Dahl power is pluralistic. Miller business elite making decision, whereas in Dahl mayor staff of political leaders made the decisions. In Miller he used reputational technique, whereas Dahl used event analysis. Dahl believes that businessmen have a clearly defined image and act with more assertion. Mayor and staff become initiator and organization in a decision community, and political leaders are uncertain and wait for the cues from other. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. I know the video was bit long, but the chapter is in one complete